There was another experience that I had working in a project where students were actually designing for an LGBTQ community. And we were doing a rebrand for this community, like a community kind of space. And my students did kind of the history, really began to explore and look at the history of that culture. And watching the people that were a part of that community, witnessing them, seeing this presentation that the students did, they were just BFA students. I don't think they expected anything, profound, but they were really moved that the students were so complete and so comprehensive in telling their story, that they actually came up to us afterwards and said, I was a part of that story, and I felt like I was made to feel a part of that story. So it made me see the value of research, even if it's just immersing students in understanding a history or a culture, them being able to kind of immerse themselves in understanding that culture better, so that as they begin to start to design, they're coming from a place of empathy, a place of understanding. So that was a really important experience for me as an educator. So anytime a student's like, well, why are we doing research? Or why are we investigating this? Or why do I have to know about this? I share that story because it's really important to the people that you're working with. They start to feel that you care about who they are and what they represent, such that that's going to impact the way that you begin to see how you design for them. So having done that, it really definitely made the role of research become quite an important and integral part of much of our studio work. So we insert research on many different levels, from sophomore year to the senior experience. And I use that word loosely because in some cases it is just discovery, understanding content that you're working with, that you wouldn't have that knowledge if you didn't start digging in deep to understand it and understand the implications around it. Well, I think that school at the end of the day is, here in the United States, I think it's about skill building for sure. But I also think it's about transforming their headspace, getting them involved in experiences that hopefully makes them more civically engaged, better human beings, better neighbors, better partners, better friends. I think it's important for design students to interact in projects in this way for those reasons, that it's more than just hard design skills, it's those soft skills that are going to just make them better people, I hope. The organizations that I think would be good to hit up for this kind of participatory or experiential design would perhaps be organizations that maybe don't fully understand the role of design or have design as an offering that is accessible or available to them. So I think the idea of what was presented here in the context of people with dementia, I think represents a kind of audience or a group of people that we're not really thinking about in terms of maybe how design might be able to impact positively their lives. So I think it's an interesting group of people that I think we're going to have more and more of as time goes on. But I think it is also just more broadly that idea of people that maybe we're just not thinking about in a traditional design context. Maybe communities that are living in situations that are unsustainable. I live here in the city of Michigan. We're still experiencing in Flint a water crisis, right? So places where there are real problems, how can we engage with those communities to try and find some way to have their stories be told? One risk, I think, is making people feel like they're on the outside or they've been marginalized or othered. So it is tricky. I think that is a risk. So I think it all is in the way that you frame it, and the way that you welcome them, and the way that you bring communities into a conversation, and that there's an authenticity to the conversation you're having with them, and that you're really looking to help them and not tell them what they need. I think what I'm going to take away from this workshop is the idea that you can try and create these environments where students can work one-on-one with people directly, and that as complicated as that might seem to be to do, I think it's this workshop has demonstrated to me that it's all very plausible. It's just a matter of whether I have the will or my faculty have the will to kind of put it together. And I think the results suggest to me that it would be really a worthwhile activity. Getting students to kind of engage one-on-one with someone, I think will change the way they think about design, the role of design, and their ability to affect change in a positive way in people's lives.